if I think about grounding, then it's not all up here, and it's not like I'm trying to like reach for
Yeah, it's
something.
not
You know
all
what I
about in
mean?
your face. You're not
Yeah.
trying to reach for something.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
like that. So it's more like you're going down with your body, like you're
Right.
grounding yourself, going down to reach
To
high
lift
notes.
off. Right.
To lift off. Yes, baby, lift off.
Yeah.
Hey Voxstar, and welcome to From Singer to Artist. I'm Lara Chapman, award-winning singer and songwriter turned viral vocal coach and the host of this show. At VoxTape Studios, we help singers from all over the world level up their voices by teaching them the 3 fundamental skills all singers need: technique, awareness, and artistry. Whether you're looking to go pro or just develop your voice for fun, my team and I are here to help. Check the link in the description to book your first session or grab some of our other resources. Alrighty, are you ready? Let's get started. Coming to you from LA today, we've got a very, very, very special guest with us here today. She is taking lessons with us currently at VoxTape Studios and has an amazing journey that I asked her, are you okay with sharing your journey with everybody else? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So welcome, Rafi.
Hi.
Hello.
It's nice to meet y'all.
Thank you so much for being here and taking the time out of your busy
course.
schedule to come and chat with me here in LA.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you live here in LA. You're not originally from LA.
I am not. I'm from Atlanta.
Mhm.
I originally moved here because of college.
Yes.
I go to USC. So
Yes. Is that the Fight On school?
yeah, fight on.
I toured USC when I was
Period.
looking at colleges. Yes.
Yes, it's
and
a great school.
they were like the Fight On, and they walked backwards when they gave us a tour
Yes,
of campus.
yes.
I'm like,
The ambassadors like train to do that too.
yeah.
Like
I'm
they
like, why are you doing that? You're gonna start walking into shit. Like, we can
yeah.
talk still, but you can, look that way, the direction you're going.
I
It's crazy.
actually applied to be a student ambassador and they rejected me.
No.
Can you believe it?
USC, shame
USC,
on you.
right. Right.
They're missing out. They're
Exactly,
missing out.
exactly. Moving on to bigger and better things, of
Yes,
course.
yes. Don't let that put you down.
Very that.
Well, so you're taking lessons with us at VoxTape Studios, but you have a really cool journey, and you're in school for music, right? Or like
No, for theater actually.
theater. So for me, that's the same. So, for me, it's like theater is like musical theater.
Yeah.
But it's obviously not. Musical
Yeah.
theater is just a part of
Right,
theater. So you're in school for theater, so for
Yes.
acting. But musical theater is a part of that, or not at all?
Technically not a part of my curriculum.
Oh.
However, I'm allowed to audition for like the musicals that the whole school puts on. So I've been in a few musicals.
Okay.
And that's where like I started out, like acting was through musicals.
Okay.
And then eventually I just caught the bug in general for
Yeah.
for just theater.
Okay.
I love doing plays. Most of the plays I do are like plays with music.
Mhm.
But I'll also dabble in a musical. I'll dabble in
Yeah.
a normal play too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. You got introduced to VoxTape Studios through your mom.
Yes, my mother. Okay, so this is actually kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
My mom wanted to learn how to sing very badly
Yeah.
because she had seen me like singing throughout my entire life,
Mhm.
and she was, sorry, mom, a little tone deaf. And her dream eventually became like doing a duet with me one day.
Wow. Yeah.
So she's been taking a whole bunch of different classes
Yes.
and ended up at VoxTape.
Eventually,
Yeah.
yeah. She was doing a lot of different things too. She shared her journey with me. Shout out Courtney. And
Love you, Mom.
and eventually ended up at VoxTape, and we've been working with her for a while now, which is awesome. And she's grown so much.
So much. Yeah.
And
I
and
can
then,
tell a lot in her voice.
And then she was like, "So, Lara, I have a beautiful daughter, and she wants to take some voice lessons. Would you be able to help? You're trans."
I am.
And
trans.
we luckily have a trans specialist at our
Kate.
student. We love
Love
Kate.
Kate.
And so, when Courtney, your mom, shared your story with me, I was like, I've got the perfect solution for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let us help. So, being trans and singing, holy moly, like there's a lot that's happening,
Yeah.
because your voice, like a male voice and a female voice, if we just look at it with simple terms, very, very different, right? Like lower in pitch, higher in pitch, different timbres, lots of differences there. Vocal training wise, it doesn't matter whether, you're a male singer or a female singer. We do similar things with you to help you train your voice. But when you are trans, there's a big change that happens too.
Yeah.
Can you just let us all know about your journey a little bit, how you navigated that vocally?
Yeah. So obviously once you start taking like estrogen and stuff, your voice doesn't really change to be higher. And so you have to find different little techniques in order to make, first of all, your chest voice sound more feminine, but also working out that mixed voice and head voice spaces in order to make those as strong as your chest voice was. Now, when I was a kid, I was in the Atlanta Boy Choir, and I was a soprano at the time.
Okay.
Literally. And I had like one of the highest voices. And then the voice change happened, and I essentially had to relearn how to sing entirely.
Yeah.
And that was super difficult. And then I got used to that, and then kind of lost my head voice. And then once I started transitioning, I have to sort of reintroduce all of those things to myself and navigate. How can I make this sound similar to this, or blend these two registers of my voice?
So were you going off of a lot of imitation, like imitating other people's voices and sounds that you heard?
Yeah, partly imitation, partly like just working with vocal coaches. A lot of them didn't really know how to do that transition from a male voice to a trans voice. And so finding Kate was actually very useful and wonderful for me, because she's the first vocal coach that I've had that has specialized with trans voices. And she gave me a lot of amazing techniques that I've felt like I kind of learned in like my natural life, of like lifting my larynx a little bit in order to sound a little bit more feminine in like spaces where I may not feel safe enough to use my real voice. You know what I mean? So that definitely became very useful to me, not just in singing, but in the real world as well.
Okay, interesting. So it's not just for singing, it's also for your speaking voice too, where you feel the changes. So with Kate, was it mostly like, oh, that's what I'm doing? Like, I'm already doing it, but now I'm understanding what I'm doing? Or was it also completely new concepts too?
It was mostly the first version.
Mostly the first, okay.
Yeah. I felt like I understood what I was doing, but I wasn't as concrete of an idea to me. And I feel like Kate really solidified that in my mind.
So was there like a big difference between, because you've worked with other vocal coaches too, to Kate, like what would you say is like the biggest difference when you're working with someone who specializes in your unique situation versus when you're working with someone who's a little bit more of a general voice coach?
I feel like a lot of the difference lies in the awareness that you need to be using this register in this part is more what Kate would work with me, and like working out those registers specifically. When like with other vocal coaches, I'll like just cheat and like just flip into head voice instead of using my mix or like stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, that sounds great. You know what I mean? Because I knew how to like manipulate it so that it was I could slide away easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're singing, you want to take the path of least resistance.
Yes.
And sometimes you need to really work on the paths of most resistance.
Well, that's how you get better, right?
Exactly,
That's how you get better.
Exactly.
So basically what you're saying is Kate's not letting you off the hook. So
No,
easy.
no.
I love that.
There are times when I want her to, but
yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, taking the easy way out is always easier, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
humans inherently, like we're lazy, and
right,
we like to be comfortable, and so obviously that's what you're gonna do naturally.
right.
But if we want to grow and we want to, make improvements and whatever, then we gotta fight it a little.
Figure that. Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
So how are you navigating being trans in, like, when you're doing a musical, for example, where you're singing? Does that affect casting at all, or not really?
Yes, it does.
Mhm.
It's been kind of more difficult to find roles for myself
Mhm.
after transitioning. Um, but really at the end of the day, what they're looking for is personality, is
Mm,
ability, is like just being yourself.
yeah.
And so like I want to say a year ago, I was cast as Angel in Rent,
Okay.
which was definitely a role that was difficult in terms of range. But
Mhm.
first of all, one of my dream roles too.
Yeah.
So it was very much just showing how I fit in to these sorts of roles.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily even have to be a trans role. Like a few weeks ago, I auditioned for a different musical, and they had gotten the rights to gender swap one of the characters,
Wow.
which was really cool. And I was grateful for that opportunity,
Mhm.
even though I didn't get it. But
Yeah.
like, even still, I was grateful that they even considered or
Yeah.
like reached out to the company to get the rights to
Yeah.
gender swap it. So really it's all about just like going out there doing it. May not work out, but
Mhm.
if you ask, you may receive. Not shall, but may.
Yeah, you
Possibly.
may. Potentially.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, if you, like, you do get the role, like you got Angel, like, did you adjust any keys of any songs at all, or
No.
you
We
just
did.
rocked it?
I just rocked it.
Yeah, you did.
It took a lot. Like we had like 4 months of rehearsal, so it took a
Mhm.
lot of rehearsal.
Yeah.
And there were some parts where like it was a little too high, and so I just flipped. Oops,
Yeah.
sorry, but
But you gotta make it work for you,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
and I
gotta do
made
what you
sure
gotta
it
do.
sounded pretty. It sounded nice for the
Mhm.
audience, and
Yeah.
it still made sense with my character and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
But even in contemporary, like, not musicals, but also it's like pop music or country or whatever genre you like to
Hmm.
listen to, artists make choices like that all the time because it sounds better if they switch into a lighter head voice
Right.
instead of like trying to belt that note or whatever. And we as the audience don't recognize that they maybe made that decision because it's easier for them to sing it that way.
Yeah.
And they made it an artistic choice, right? They were like, okay, well, how can I make that vocal choice that I'm making, support the story,
Exactly.
right? And that's
Exactly.
where the theater aspect of it really comes back
Right.
into the performance as well. And yeah, you just make it a choice and you pretend like that's just how it goes.
Yeah. And like my version of Angel, which was different from most people's version of Angel, is that mine was trans. Like at the time, the terms between trans and drag queen were not as distinct,
Mm.
and so I wanted to blur that line.
Mhm.
And also wanted my character to really represent compassion. And so
Mm.
switching into the head voice was kind of also a decision in making her sound sweeter and
Yeah.
softer,
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
See, this is where your acting training comes in.
exactly. My actor brain right
Yes.
here. Doing
How
all the
did you
work.
get into acting in the first place?
In 6th grade at
Mhm.
my middle school / high school, they started offering theater for us, and I had
Okay.
been like a choir kid for
Yeah.
years and years, and they were doing Mulan Junior, and I was like,
Ah,
hell yeah, like I love
yeah.
Mulan, like I'll sing those songs. I auditioned and I got the role of a Hun in the
Mm.
ensemble, and it was really funny because the director would always be like, Rafi, you need to stop smiling. Like
No, no.
You're supposed to be menacing, like
Yeah.
give us like I don't know, a grimace or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
I love that. That is so sweet.
They called me Rafi the Smiling Hun.
How adorable.
But actually, I feel like that came to my advantage because the next time I played a villain in my life, I was in Once on This Island at USC, and I was playing Papa Gabe. And this sort of demon character, I could use the smile as like a creepy, like sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
So all of my villains are smiley, but they can still be scary.
Yes. A creepy, it's like dolls. You know, dolls, like
Exactly.
they can be so creepy.
100%.
But they're technically not supposed to. Like, that's not the intention behind it. Just like with a smile. A smile is not intended to be creepy, but, well, it can be.
Yeah.
So there you go. Acting choices.
Literally. And they tell us in acting, like one of the things, like if you hold something for longer than 7 seconds, it's unsettling, no matter really what you're doing. So if you're holding a smile like this for a really long time,
it is unsettling.
It's really uncomfortable.
Yes. Oh my God.
But
I never thought about that. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. I went to acting school. So not acting school. I went to musical theater school in an musical theater program in an acting school. So the school was called the New York Film Academy. So it's like a film school that lots of acting, but also like filmmaking and all that stuff too. And they have a musical theater program. And I went there. And up until that point, this was out of high school. Up until that point, I never had any sort of acting training. And for me, it was always like sing, 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 sing.
Right.
And I didn't really know anything about musicals either. I was just like, yeah, why not sing, act, and dance at the same time? Sounds great. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had any sort of acting classes. And that helped me so much in my singing, because up until that point, I was really bad storyteller because I didn't care. I didn't care about the stories I was telling. I only cared about, do I sound good?
Right. Right.
So that really helped me reframe what music is all about, and you know, how storytelling is how you're going to connect to your audience and how you leave a lasting impression, not just like, wow, they're a really good singer. Cool, moving on to the next person. Right? Because like there's so many really good singers out there. But if you can touch them and, you know, make them feel something that's totally different, then you leave a lasting impression. And so for you, it sounds like it was kind of the opposite. You started with the acting.
Yeah.
And then got into the singing. Or you were choir kid too, so maybe it was a little bit more simultaneous.
Yeah, but a choir kid also means you didn't really have to like sing on your own a lot. And so you could just kind of blend in with the other voices. You didn't have to sound particularly pretty. You know what I mean? Yeah. But acting, getting into acting and musical theater and all of that, I feel like really influenced my singing, because maybe it's just me naturally, but I always would just feel the emotions of the song first and then apply my like technique from all of this choir experience and vocal coaching and all of that stuff. And so it sort of became a thing of like, I very much naturally knew how to phrase things, or sometimes like I would have like a crack or something, but it went so well with the character that I was just like in the moment, and it worked for me, you know.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of performance too, no matter what you perform, like whether it's a musical or just theater, like without the singing, or contemporary music, pop music, whatever, like if something unexpected happens on stage, go with it. Like either make
100%.
Something out of it, make a moment out of it, or just pretend like it didn't happen, because your audience is not going to know
exactly
what happened, right? Like even if you forget a lyric, like whatever, make something up. I did a musical when I was so I did musical theater school first, and then I did Berkeley in Boston, music school for contemporary music. But they had a musical theater show and I auditioned for it and I got the lead. It was Bear the musical, like Bear like naked, not a bear.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I've never heard of that one.
It's really good. It's very contemporary, and again, it's not very well known, but I think you would really like it. I played Ivy.
Okay, I'll look
and teen pregnancy, you know. Anyways, I was a pregnant teen.
You know how it is.
You know how it is. And so Anyways, there were a couple shows that we put on over the weekend, like 5 shows, I think. And I completely forgot the songs, the lyrics to the second verse of one of the songs. And I just made it up. I just was
exactly
writing lyrics on the spot.
100%.
And it happened twice. The first time it happened, the musical theater didn't even, the musical director didn't even notice. He was like, oh, that was actually really good. Like, I didn't know. Like, that was really good. Then it happened again the next day. And then the other shows, I was fine. But happened again the next day, and he was like, yeah, this time it wasn't that good, was it? I was like, nope. Nobody knew. There were people in the audience, like parents. They came to every single show. None of them knew. I told them, like, did you notice that I literally made up those? They're like, oh, no, we thought it was the same every time. Like, nope. Nope. I made them up.
Yeah. I mean, the old proverb stands true. The show must go on.
The show must
Whatever
go
you're
on.
because at the end of the day, the audience doesn't know what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
So just do whatever.
Yeah.
And hope that it works. And
Yeah.
clearly it worked for you.
Yeah,
So.
and there are other times where it didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, like you crack on stage. Like I was in middle school, whatever. I cracked on stage and I was mortified because the kids in the audience were laughing. And I was just so mortified, and I let that show on my face. And guess what? That was not that great of an experience, but
Yeah.
it happens,
It
you know,
happens.
and you keep going and you learn from it and you try better the next time.
Right. Exactly.
That's all you can do. Or quit, but that doesn't seem like a good option either.
I don't like that option.
Right?
Mama didn't raise no quitter.
No.
You heard that, Mom?
No. Courtney is so great. I need to have a little podcast session in Atlanta so I can invite
Oh
her.
yeah.
That'd
That
be
would be
so
great.
fun. She's so
That'd be
great.
wonderful.
Ugh, we love a supportive mom.
Yes, we love a supportive mom. She's great. She's wonderful.
Anyways, I'd love to do a little singing with you if you're cool with that.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I've been practicing My Days from the Notebook. The musical.
Yes, you have. Oh, we didn't do a warm up.
No, we didn't.
Oh, do you want to do a warm up?
Let's do a quick warm up.
Okay, let's do a quick warm up. Okay, just real quick.
Yeah.
All right. 2, 3. Da 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 da.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da.
You got the snapping right. I went off. But yeah, that's right. Yeah, your head voice is really nice and solid out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's all right over that bridge, right? That
Yeah.
word that we're trying to navigate. Like, are we chesting it? Are we more in the head voice? Are we somewhere
Fully.
in a mix, right? So when you warm up, what do you usually like to pay attention to?
This is a horrible habit.
Okay.
Every vocal teacher has told me this is a horrible habit. But I like to warm up using songs.
Okay.
Because I stay the most engaged that way.
Yes.
But I'll also use like sometimes like some tracks online or
Mhm.
like your tracks on a VoxTape studio page, and just work out specific things like agility or like I don't know belting or mix or whatever.
Yeah.
If I want to get really specific about like, oh, this is not really like sounding, this part of my voice is not sounding up to par at the moment, you know?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And, there's a reason why I created pop song exercises where I just take a regular song and I create an exercise out of it because it is easier to stay engaged.
Right.
Like when you're doing a song compared to when you're doing Ave Maria.
Exactly.
Ave Maria. Like, do that 500 times, it gets boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, yeah, I feel you. And I think a lot of singers are in your shoes where it's like, no, I'll sing a song.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly.
But then again, it's like, okay, well, cool. We know that about ourselves. what can we do to make that work? Because there might be songs that are really good for a warm-up.
Yeah.
Do you have a couple songs that you stick to, or?
Yeah. I have a few songs that are like in a lower range, and I'll
Okay.
start out with those. And then I'll do like a beltier song, and then I'll do maybe a head voice song, or
Okay.
I'll just switch it up. Sometimes I'll do the head voice song first and then the beltier song.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, very
Or
cool.
a
So you
few.
have like a system that works for you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And like, who am I to tell you what's good and what's not good? It's just what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Right. Right.
And what
exactly.
serves you in the long term too, right? Because you're still young. You're just a little spring chicken. And so, you know, what works for you now is great, but we do need to make sure that it's going to serve you over the long term, that it's sustainable over many, many, many years. Because when you're young, your voice bounces back easy, right?
Right.
And like you don't feel that much. But the older you get, the harder it gets. And
Yeah.
so, you know, we need to.
Oh, so
you know,
excited.
yeah. You're
Can't
gonna
wait.
be just fine. You're gonna be just fine. But yeah, you know, it's just okay. Well, what works for you? What works for you now, and also what's gonna work for you in the long term. That's all that
Precisely.
matters. Whether that's good or bad in quotes, it's who am I to say?
Exactly.
It's not for me to judge. I love it.
Love.
Want to do the song?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. The key, is that okay? Do I need to adjust?
Yeah,
the
the
key?
key's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have transpose on here. I can adjust it on the fly.
Like, I could technically do it a half step up, but then like that's a lot of work.
Okay, we'll do it in the original key. Maybe the second run through we can do it.
Okay, maybe the second run through.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Alrighty, here we go.
Wait, that I spend my days these days. All we ever really get are days to dream and days to lose. I just need to choose my time. I have to run away. I have to stay. I want to live a life where I am proud to say that I followed my joy, I followed my heart. I lived this one wild life, I ripped it apart. I pushed through the corners with a no apologies. And finally I can say I know the way. I'll say that I loved the way that I spent my days.
Yes! Stunning!
Thank you. I had to like get into it at the beginning.
Yeah, but that was so good. How did it
Thank you.
feel?
I felt good. I feel like I could do better, but like I always feel like that. It's
You know.
the artist complex.
I know. For me, I was just sitting there like, yeah, no, perfect. No notes. This is great. This is great. This is great. There's always, you know, little details here and there. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say, like, who gives a shit?
Right, exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
it's live performance. There's no such thing as perfection in live performance.
100%.
And that was really freaking good. So,
Thank you.
you know, I love it. So have you been working on the song with Kate in your
Yes.
lessons?
We've been working on this one. Recently we switched to a different one that works out my head voice a lot more,
Okay.
which is really cool. I don't know if I'm ready to premiere that one though.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We don't have to dig into that.
Yeah.
So when you were working with Kate on this song, My
Yes.
Days, what were some of the things that you guys worked on, that you workshopped?
A lot of like brightening the sound, lifting the larynx,
Yeah.
sort of stuff, and making sure I'm like opening up because I also have a very tense jaw sometimes,
Yeah.
and so I'll struggle with that sometimes. But it was mostly like getting into the nitty gritty,
Mm-hmm.
seeing what worked for me, what didn't, what sort of visualizations worked for me, what didn't.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Visualizations for the timbre of the voice?
Yeah, for like timbre and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
work a lot more in like
visuals?
Like put it forward, put it back, or like
yeah,
stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do you have like a weird image in mind that helps you lift the larynx and get everything a little brighter?
A smile in the back of my mouth. Hi, how are you?
Okay. I like it. I'm trying it out for myself right now, and I'm like, hold on, why can't I not drop down in pitch because my larynx is so high? Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. You so can do this a half step up.
I can.
Can we try it?
We can try it. Why not? Why not?
Yes, baby.
I'm allowed to say that I'm proud of the way that I spend my days these days. All we ever really get are days to dream and days to lose. I just need to choose my time. I have to run away. I have to stay. I'm gonna live a life where I am proud to say that I followed my joy, I followed my heart, I lived this one wild life, I ripped it apart, I pushed through the corners with no apologies, and finally I can say I know the way. I say that I love the way that I spend my days.
Yes. Yes. Okay, how did that feel?
That felt good.
Yeah. Very cool.
The top note was a little crunchy for me, but
a little crunchy. I like that term. A little crunchy. No, but that was really good. It's a half step higher, right? And so it makes it harder to sing. It takes a little bit more effort. 100%. Right? But I love just watching you breathe too. Like you really prepare for these notes. Like my days. Like you expand your rib cage.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's part of the visualization too for me because I don't think like on a dime I could just think breathe into your diaphragm. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just think ground yourself. Be in the floor.
yeah. And that's especially hard doing it like when you're sitting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you have to find that ground.
I don't know if you noticed, I like kind of arched my back a little bit right before.
Yeah. But it supports you.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're hitting those notes. Then, you know, talking about support in quotes, support, we can look at it in different ways, but what I see a lot of, well, actually, let me ask you, what is support to you?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm still figuring that out in some cases. But it's about giving the note enough space, enough air, and enough, I guess, force behind it in order to be like audible, obviously.
Yeah.
But also like stable and able to adjust sort of the volume or vibrato or stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it's not supported, my vibrato just doesn't come through at all. Or if it's not supported, sometimes I cannot like go any quieter, or if it's over supported. That was what I mean.
Yeah. You brought up the word force because you mentioned like enough space, enough breath, and force.
Yeah, like
what's the force?
Like what I like. contraction, I guess, in
Contraction.
the stomach area.
Yeah.
Not as in like I'm forcing this note
Yeah.
out of my throat, but
Yeah. And that's where I see a lot of singers struggling, because when they think about support, they're either thinking about, I need to sing from my diaphragm. First of all, impossible. Sorry. It's not how that works.
Yeah.
Also, let's pretend it does work. Well, what the heck does it even mean to sing from your diaphragm? You can't feel that. Right? So, and then so that's one half. The other half is, well, I need to squeeze my abs to get it out. Right? And so use the word force. And I was like, okay, hold on. Yes, yes. But what we don't want is to be like, I'm doing like a plank and I'm like singing, right? Because, just like leaning back where I'm using my abs to hold myself up right now. If I sing like this, it's gonna feel pretty tight because there's so much force behind it. And the more force there is behind it, the more vocal fold closure you're gonna get, which means the less breath comes through. Yeah. So it's about balance, right? Like how much quote unquote force do I need from my abs, from my support, right? So that I'm still supported, but I am not now shutting off the breath, right? So it's balancing that with the breath. And so, it depends on the singer. Some singers don't have enough force. Others have not enough breath. You just need to like figure out, okay, hold on, which end of the spectrum am I?
Exactly. And it can be hard to judge that as just a singer on your own, like on stage or like.
Well, yeah. Also, like, how are you gonna know, right? Like singing is so much about awareness.
It's about vibes.
It's about vibes.
It's straight up about vibes.
It is about vibes, absolutely. But if you're like, man, that note just doesn't come out the way I want it to. How are you gonna change it if you have no idea why? Right. Like we need to be aware of what happened so that the notes came out the way it did, and what we can do to create an alternative version of that. Not that one version is better than the other, they're just different. And at the end of the day, I want you to be able to express yourself however you want to. Right. But that comes down to awareness. You need to know what happened and what you need to do to change it, and then practice that thing. And then you get to the result.
Exactly. And I think the awareness part also changes person to person. Because I know for me, like, I know the action of like, ha, 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 like in the stomach and whatever. But I prefer visualizing it as like being grounded, because then I'm not thinking about force or tension. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to have any of that really in my body.
I love
while
that.
I'm singing.
Yeah.
Or while I'm acting.
For me, it's like I don't think about force or grounding or anything like that. I think about flow. Because my tendency as a singer is squeeze. I squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and then it gets so hard to get those freaking notes out. So for me, my definition of support for myself is flow. Just focus on the breath flow. Yeah. And that helps me. But again, we're all different.
Yeah. My main problem is like tension, especially here, is like
in your jaw.
Yeah, jaw and like throat sometimes.
The throat down there. Okay, well, if you're feeling it here in the front of your throat, that's usually the tongue, right? Because your tongue goes all the way down and it's connected to your larynx through the hyoid bone. Not that matters, but it's connected to your larynx, right? So if your tongue gets really tight, your larynx just kind of locks into place, which is why when we're feeling tension here in our throats, the front of our throat, then that's usually tongue tension. If we feel just stiff here, that would be more the neck muscles engaging. And up here, of course, that's your jaw. Yeah. Right. But again, different people feel it differently. So, when somebody asks me like, well, where am I supposed to feel it? Or what am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to feel it? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you, because you and I are going to feel it differently. Yeah. Right. Like, we're just going to go off of sound. And I can help you, make tweaks there. But I don't want to tell you what to feel, because we feel it differently. Yeah. I agree. So when you're singing this song, do you feel that tightness here in and around your jaw throat area?
Not much. Sometimes in that last note I'll feel it like a little bit. But I try to keep in mind the grounding sort of thing for me, because I keep coming back to that. But
no, it's good.
It's because like if I think about grounding, then it's not all up here, and it's not like I'm trying to like reach for
Yeah,
something.
it's not
You know
all
what I
about in
mean?
your face. You're not
Yeah.
trying to reach for something.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
like that. So it's more like you're going down with your body, like you're
Right.
grounding yourself, going down to reach
To
high
lift
notes.
off. Right.
To lift off. Yes, baby, lift off.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it. Yes. I mean, it's like when you're, high jump.
Hmm.
They like go down to their knees to jump
Right.
up.
Exactly.
So they're launching themselves that way. That's kind
Exactly.
of what you're doing too. I love it. Launch pad.
That's my little launch pad.
You're creating your own launch pad. And so as far as openness goes, right? Because you mentioned, opening and like your jaw, like you're feeling tension here in general, not
Yes.
necessarily in the song, but in general. It's so hard to find the balance between how much should I open my jaw and what's like too much. Because it can also be
Yes.
too much. Because if we over open, what happens for you if you open a lot and you go overboard a little?
I feel those support kind of get a little bit more wavery. It's not as like a concentrated sound.
It's not concentrated.
It's just like
It spreads.
Yeah, it spreads a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
I had this one girl in chorus many years ago who would sing every single note like, oh God, and I was like, girl, please. Like,
yeah.
It was
Just
a little ridiculous.
Really a lot of mouth movement
Right.
and really open. Yeah. And again, sometimes for certain notes, we need it, right? We need that
100%.
space. But other times, if we open too much, we can't, depending on the person, depending on the singer, there's the tendency that singers push too hard or that they spread too much, right? And then the sound just sounds very spready and not like
Right.
laser focused, right? And then that uses so much more energy because now you're filling the room rather than just singing it to like one point on the wall,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that takes a whole lot less energy if you sing to just one person than to the entire
100%.
room. Now, don't worry, your voice is going to carry and it's going to fill the room either
People will
way.
hear you.
But, like, don't work so hard.
Yeah.
Can we try that last high note one more time?
Sure. Followed my joy, I followed my heart. I lived this one wild life, I ripped it apart. I pushed through the corners with no apologies. And finally I can say I know the way. I'll say that I love the way that I spent my days.
Yeah, okay, how'd I feel?
I felt good. That felt better than the last time.
Yeah. It sounded just a little more controlled.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to watch your body when you prepare for that high note. It's really like with you, it's extreme compared to other singers that I've seen out there. Like you physically prepare.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it.
Because like our body is our instrument in my mind. So it's like.
It is. It literally is. It's not just in your mind. It's not something you tell yourself. It literally is.
Yeah. And in acting too. So I try to be very aware of my body.
Yeah.
What I'm doing.
Yeah. Do you do anything to help you connect more to your body, or is that something that comes a little bit more natural to you?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of acting exercises that we do a lot that are for neutralizing the body, releasing any tension all over the body and becoming sort of a vessel for the character to run through you. And that also entails a lot of times some exercises that we do with articulators. This one class we literally did jaw exercises for ourselves, tongue exercises, like nasal exercise, like cool. Genuinely everything.
I love that there's an overlap, in your vocal training and your theater training there.
Yes, there's a lot of overlap. And it's kind of funny to see because the way that musicians describe it versus the way that actors describe it are very, very different.
Yeah.
But I know it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But,
That is so cool. Well, thank you for singing. You obviously have a beautiful voice. And
thank
I remember
you.
the first lesson that we had together too. You blew me out of the water. Like I didn't know what to
Really?
expect. And I was like, oh, okay.
Thank you.
Wow. It was really impressive.
That's great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's wonderful.
No,
That makes me
really.
happy.
Yeah. And just, seeing you still grow, it's beautiful. I love it. You're making a lot of progress. Do you feel like you're making progress? Do you feel
Yeah,
change?
definitely.
Where would you say have you felt the biggest change?
In my head voice.
Okay, cool.
And the development of my mixed voice.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always had like a concept of mixed voice, but like never knew how to.
A concept, right? It's a
Right.
concept. You know how to apply it
Right.
and strengthen it. Yeah.
Like I could not just like access it on a dime. I had to
Ah.
be in like a certain headspace for it. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like such an ethereal thing that I was like, where's my mixed voice?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you so much for singing. Share your beautiful voice
Thank
with
you.
us. What's next for you? Because you're in school now.
I am.
Fight
Fight on. I am in my last semester in college.
Wow. Really? You're about to graduate?
Yeah, I'm graduating in May. Super
Yes.
excited. And so new stuff for me. These past 2 weekends I was doing 2 different shoots. And they okay, I know at least the first one is premiering in Atlanta in May, I want to say.
Okay.
May. At the Plaza Theater.
Okay.
So very excited for that. This other one was a concept trailer for a web series that I'm going to be doing. We're going to be shooting in October here in LA. So I'm very excited for that one too.
Wow.
And then I'm currently in a show, a stage show called Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind. It's a improv / sketch comedy sort of show.
Okay.
It's 30 plays in 60 minutes. So I'm one of the MCs. I go out on stage and I ask, along with my other MC, and I ask the other audience, like, give us a number. And they'll say 25 or whatever. And we do play number 25.
Okay.
Until we hopefully get through all 30 plays in 60 minutes. And
in 6 minutes.
60.
Okay, I was gonna say, how are you gonna get through 30 plays in 6 minutes? Even in 60.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. We'll see how we do. And then we are taking the show to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival during the summer. So if you want to catch us in Scotland, you can.
That
come to
is
Edinburgh.
so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you already have 2 things lined up for post graduation. You've got the Scotland,
Yeah.
and then you've got your shoot for the other show that
Yes.
you're doing in
Yes.
October. So
And technically the first shoot, it was a short film, but they're using it as proof of concept to submit it to like
yes,
festivals and whatever. So hopefully that gets picked up and I have another job.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So your plan is staying in LA post graduation?
Yeah, I plan on staying in LA. I'm gonna be based in both LA and Atlanta since I have free housing at my parents' house.
Yes. Love it.
So I'll probably be like flying back and forth, but I plan on at least settling
Mhm.
in LA for a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially during the summer because I'm gonna be doing
Yeah.
other traveling and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And sometimes your girl needs a break.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So you're gonna do like film stuff too. So like even though you studied theater, you're using your training for film too.
Yes, technically, our theater track is called theater with an emphasis in acting in stage, screen, and new media.
Oh, wow.
So they teach us acting
Yeah.
not only for stage but for screen
Okay.
and like social media and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So your career goal is being an actor?
Being an entertainer in general.
Entertainer.
Yeah. I don't want to like be like I want to just do this because I know I'm gonna want to do everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say for post grad, I'm probably gonna focus on acting more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. My mom's been really pushing me to do some open mics and things, so maybe we'll do that too.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because we've worked with actors like here based in here in LA. They were wanting to do voice lessons because they were like, well, I keep getting, not getting roles, but like auditions for roles that require singing, even if it's just like a phrase here and there, and I just do not feel comfortable doing that. Help me.
Yeah.
So you're definitely not going to have that issue.
No, I'm very glad I won't.
Yeah, like that's not going to be a limitation for you if you come across a role and like an audition for a role. You're like, yep, I got it. All right, I'll sing.
But the dancing side, no.
Okay. Well, you can always take some dance classes. There's plenty of opportunities for that here in LA.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll see.
You are such a spring chicken. You're so young. You've got time for that.
Time. Well, yes, it'll be fine.
So dance was not a part of your curriculum?
No. Okay. No. There is a musical theater track at USC, but at the time, like when I applied, they only had like 2 classes that have gone through the full program.
Oh, so it's new.
Yeah, so it's really new. And I just didn't want to risk it. And I had also gotten a scholarship with the BA program, theater acting program. So I was like, thank you. I was like, hell yeah, I'll take that.
Yes.
I'll take that instead.
Absolutely. But,
yeah.
That is so cool. Hey, do we want to play a little lyric game real quick?
Please.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've got different games here on our show. And you picked the Lyric Lab, meaning you pick a song, you read the lyrics, and I have to guess what song it is, and then we'll switch.
Okay.
All right, let's try it.
Should I do a dramatic reading of the lyrics?
Oh my God, yes! Yes, please.
Okay. Friday night, and the lights are low. Looking out for a place to go. Where they play the right music, getting in the swing. You come to look for a king.
Ooh.
Anybody could be that guy. I mean, night is young and the music's high. With a little bit of rock music, everything is fine. You're in the mood for a dance. And when you get the chance, you're the dancing
queen. You are the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17.
Ow! Ow!
Do you know that song?
Yes, of course.
Oh, ABBA! Let's go. They're my fave. I love ABBA.
That.
Yeah, it's so hard to have a dramatic reading of friggin' Dancing Queen. Like, what the hell? Like, it could not be any less dramatic than that. Oh my gosh, that was good. I love it. Okay. Well, I cannot do dramatic readings like you
It's okay,
can,
it's okay. I'm probably going to be horrible at this.
I shall try my best. I remember when. I remember. You already know the song?
Yes. I remember when. I remember when I lost my mind.
There was something so pleasant
about that place. The words, I don't know.
But see, you do know the words.
I just know that I remember when.
Isn't it so funny how you can hear one phrase and you're like, that?
I know it.
It's crazy how fast it can go sometimes.
For real.
All right, let's try one more.
Okay. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air. Like, I don't care, baby. By the way. Because I'm...
Happy, clap along.
I knew you knew it.
But it's so funny, like, hearing you read these lyrics, it's just it might seem crazy what I'm about to say. I know that phrase.
Yeah.
And I immediately recognized it from that. Second phrase, couldn't tell you what it is.
Exactly.
And so I heard it and was like,
I had to like look at the lyrics. I was like, I know this song so well, but like...
Yeah. But what is it? Yeah, but it's so funny how that first phrase So, I don't know if you write songs, but if you do, now we're learning that first phrase is what's going to stick out to people. So
Right.
better be a good one.
Yeah, for real.
Oh my gosh. Well, got one. Oh, I'll choose a little guy.
Oh,
It's just a little guy. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Okay.
Oh, God.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a
Fire?
ring of fire.
Ring of fire.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, down, down. The flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns.
See, I don't know the words to that one, though.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah.
I know the melody.
But also, this is like a song from way back when. This is way before your time.
The 1900s.
You are a 2000 kid, aren't you?
I am. I was born 2002.
Okay. We're going to end it right there. Thanks for coming. But no. Wow, that always blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know, like kids who were born in the 2000s are not kids anymore.
Yeah.
You're a grown-ass adult.
Yeah, I'm 22.
Wow! You can drink and all.
I can drink. Yes. Finally.
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. Well, hey, I have one last question for you.
Yes.
I ask this question all of our guests. This show is called From Singer to Artist. So the question is, what to you is the difference between a singer and an artist? Is there a difference?
I feel like it's one of those things that like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not necessarily a square. You know what I mean? Singers are artists, but not all artists are necessarily singers.
Okay.
Well, because artists can encompass actors, painters, sculptors, anything and all of the above. But an artist, how do I define an artist? Is someone who creates art. I guess there's the simplest way to say that.
You use the word create.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a creation happening.
Exactly.
There.
Exactly. It's not necessarily like you are writing the song or you are writing the play, but you're still creating something by making the choices you make and how to sing it, how to act it,
So now you're using the word choice. So it's the choice to do something, and you're not maybe just copying something you heard, but you're making a choice. Even if you are copying something you heard, you make the choice to do it that way.
Yes. But I also think the choice is a type of creation. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love that. I love asking people this question because everybody has a different thought process behind it, right? And most people never even think about it, right?
Yeah.
And I love hearing that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Like we do all of our stuff online, so actually getting to meet our students in person is always such a pleasure and so fun.
It was so nice
to
meeting
treat
you.
you too. Thank you for working with us, and thank you, Kate, Coach Kate. We would have loved to have her here next time. Next time we gotta fly her out here.
It'll be me, you, my mom, Kate.
Yes, the whole four
crew
of us. We'll all go to Atlanta and we'll do it there.
Period.
Perfect. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much, Rafi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. The best of luck to you.
Thank you.
With your career and life and all of the above. I can't wait to see where you're going to go.
Thank you so much.
And we're always here to support you any way we can.
Thanks.
No problem. Yay. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.